welcome to Space Engineers. Alright, now I had a series going on Space Engineers some time back, and yes, it's been a while since I've done very much with it, and then again, of course, it's hard to continue a series when the save file is gone. Yeah. And, well, I'm going to give it another shot here, since we are well into the planets update and so on. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new world here, and we'll go a custom world. Now, the easy start ones on Earth, Mars, Alien, and Moon, I think maybe they're a little too easy, because among other things, they include a fuller already built base and a whole bunch of ships and stuff that's already built, and no, I don't want to do that. I am going to go with the solar system start. You get 3 planets and their moons, Earth-like, Mars-like, and an alien thing. Alright, so we'll call it Season 2, switch it to survival mode. Environment hostility, that's talking about meteors. And in my opinion, meteors have been broken in Space Engineers for a very long time, and I'm not going to have anything to do with them. Autosave, no thank you. That can be a lag problem. World generator, let's see. Infinite low density? Okay, I'll go with that. Flora density, the plants and trees and whatnot. I'm tempted to select none, but I'll go with low, because all those trees and plants and whatnot, those are lag generators. On the advanced settings, I've got inventory X10, assembler and refinery X3, welding and grinding X2. Max objects, 56 seems a little low to me, so I'm going to just jack it up here, something like that. View distance 15 kilometers, day duration 2 hours. Delete respawn ship, I'm going to turn that off, even though this is single player, and it really doesn't apply, because delete respawn ship, it happens when you log out of the game, as if it was playing on a server, and this is not a server, this is a single player setup, so it really wouldn't matter, but I'm turning it off anyway. Tool shake, no, absolutely not. Cyberhounds, I have seen a lot of talk about these things, and I've seen them in video, and I've encountered them myself in a few test playthroughs. No thank you. They need a lot of work. Drones, not on Earth. I'm starting out on an Earth-like planet, and for my playthrough, drones, spiders, pirates, and such like will not happen within about 1,000 kilometers of the Earth-like planet. Beyond that, some of these things may be turned on. Okay, so that's the advanced section, the mods section, and yes, I am going to have a few mods going. Let's see, automated inventory sorting. Absolutely want that. The twin welders and twin grinders I will probably bring in at some point. Let's see. Frankly, the reason I have most of these mods is that I've downloaded some of Direwolf 20's worlds, and they were part of it. And let's see, and I only tend to use most of them. The small medical station is tempting, I might. Let's see, there was some that I got recently here. Yeah, clean glass, and the small ship clean glass. I'll probably bring in the endless cargo ships just for the giggles of it. And let's see, there's one in particular I'm looking for. Here we are. Discharged power cells for batteries. I have always disagreed with the idea that grinding down a battery would result in the power cells being rendered as scrap. And then the scrap only cooks down to iron, when it takes iron, nickel, and silicon to make the power cells. So this mod changes that behavior so that the battery yields discharged power cells, which you can then disassemble in the assembler to get the iron, nickel, and silicon back out of them. So I'm putting that in. And I may go with the modifying Stode Crusher later. The energy shields, probably. Yes. There's two versions of that, one for stable branch and one for dev branch. And the clean-in camera screen. If you've ever looked at the cameras in Space Engineers, they often look, by default, they look like some kind of a 1950s era closed-circuit TV, and it's really hard to see anything on them. And I don't understand that, because Space Engineers are supposed to take place in the distant future, and you'd think that in the distant future, clean camera feeds would be an automatically defaulted assume. I mean, we could do pretty clean camera feeds now, here in 2016. So, okay, starting the world. This is going to take a minute or two to load. I'll be back when it does. Alright, here we go. Look outside. We are descending from, looks like about 7 kilometers altitude, or thereabouts, or maybe a little higher. Inertial dampening is on, so the ship will come to a stop, and I kind of need it to. And looking around here, we are on the night side of the planet. That is not gonna fly at all. So once the ship comes to a stop, probably about 3 or 4 kilometers altitude, it's already, you can see on the right, the speed is already slowing down. And that'll work for me. Once it does, I need to remove the helmet, because this is an oxygen planet, and so I don't need to be using suit oxygen. Let's just think, run out of oxygen using suit oxygen and suffocate on an oxygen planet from lack of oxygen. Helmet off. Okay. First thing I'm going to do here, let's get out here where I can actually see the toolbar. Let's see. Alright, thrusters. Select them all. AT-thrusters. Atmospheric thrusters. Alright, and let's see. Assembler, turn it off. That's a beacon. That's a waste of parts and power. Gyro, leave it on. Interior lights, I'm going to turn them off. And LCD panels, I'm turning them off. Ore detector, I'll leave that on. O2 gen, I'll leave that on. Tank, I'm going to turn off. Programmable block, we don't need. The refinery should be turned off. It doesn't have anything to do. And the timer block, turn that off. Alright, that gives me 18 hours of fuel time. I could hover here for 18 hours, but that would be kind of useless. What I'm going to do is start maneuvering forward, and I'm going to fly around for, I have no idea how long it's going to take, and find a suitable place to land. And I will cut back in when I'm on approach. Alright. About 20-25 minutes of flying, and I do believe I have found what I'm looking for. A nice flat ice lake, being what I think is going to be a very good place to land. So I'm working on reducing my altitude and slowing down in preparation for scouting out a final landing site. I have to be careful not to descend too fast, because I'd like to set this thing down gently in a reusable condition. Not that I expect to fly this lander very much more. Yeah, I know. I've used most of my fuel, or a large chunk of it, flying around. But you see these dark spots. They show up on the terrain. They show up especially well on the lakes. Those dark patches are where we can expect to find ore deposits. So I'm going to get low to the ground over these things, fly around, and see what my ore detector can find. What I'm looking for is uranium, because a sufficient supply of uranium caused that nagging Betty to shut up, quit nagging about ship fuel being low, and it will be the beginning of everything. This has always been my priority in space engineers when starting out. The very first thing you look for is uranium, because uranium is power and power is life. Yeah. Well, ship fuel is low, but I can be on the ground in the next few minutes, safely parked with the landing gears locked. You see in front there, there is that white horizontal line. That's artificial horizon, and the number below it, that's my altitude. And I'm kind of feathering the big atmospheric thrusters, the ones that are pointed down, turning them off a little bit at a time to reduce my altitude, get close to the surface where my ore detector will have enough range to reach into the ground and tell me if there is uranium down there. Now, there's a dark patch in front of me, and there's another one off that way. I'm going to check these things. Okay, the ore detector is already detecting ice. This is good. Let's just fly over the big part of this one. Get my altitude down a little bit more. If I'm not mistaken, the ore detector for a large ship has about 150 meters range. I seem to recall it used to have more, but maybe planets have something to do with it. Okay, there's nickel down there. That's good. There's iron. Also good.
Ship fuel low.
Yeah. Cobalt. Another good one to have. All right. Now just casually meander around here. Nickel, iron, and cobalt in this patch. I'm going to head over here to this other one. I'm being careful not to be going too fast. I'm awfully close to the ground. And to keep my horizon level. The idea is to find some uranium, set down close by, and get out the hand drill and go mine uranium. And then mine all the other things that I can find, which a few careful flights around the local vicinity within a kilometer, I'll bet you I find everything I need. We'll find out. Uranium. All right, we got what we need. Uranium, magnesium, and of course ice. Silicon, that's another very valuable one. I want to get myself as close to the uranium as possible. It looks like I'm right on top of a good sized node of uranium. So I'm going to set down right here. Setting down. Alright. Unlock. All the landing gear in contact. Lock. Okay. Now I put some groups on the hotbar. Number 8, turn off the gyros. Number 9, turn off the atmospheric thrusters. Alright. Let's go have a look around. Very bare bones lander. See how much uranium is in there. 0.3 kilos, so not much. And I can see, okay, open the door. And I'm going to need to reset my hotbar. I don't like the default arrangement they have. Character tools, the welder, the drill or the grinder, and the drill. Now there are some advanced drills and tools that I can make, and I will later on, but for right now, okay. Now, I landed pretty much on top of a uranium deposit. So, now the ore detector built into the drill doesn't have as much range, but that's alright. I know it's down there because I saw it with the ship ore detector. I'm just going to start right here and drill straight down. So crouch and drill, and I'm going to use the, okay, pick that up so it's not in my way. I'm going to use the right click option on the drill, which will remove material without giving anything. And yeah, things are just a little funky. Alright, there's the uranium. I'm just going to drill down to it. I'm going to mine as much as I can carry, bring it back up to the ship, put it in the refinery, and get that stuff cooking. And I'll probably do several trips of that. And then I'm going to locate and mine decent-sized supplies of every ore so that I can have a little something to get started with. The only ore I'm not going to find is platinum, because that is not found on planets. It's part of the encouragement to get out and explore. You can find it on the moon, you can find it in asteroids, but you will not find it on a planet. 8 meters to go. Just burrow through a little more of this rock. Turn my light on. Yeah, it's just nothing but rock so far. Continue drilling down. Okay. That gray stuff. That's my uranium. Okay, I am going to mine as much of this stuff as I can carry and get that up to refine. And while it's refining, well, honestly, probably make a couple of 3 trips, and then I will start going for all of the other materials that are found around here and get some decent initial supplies, and then we'll start the first build. All right, well, it's been a little while. As a matter of fact, since the last clip, it's been about 5 or 6 days in real time. In that time, I went down there and I mined a whole mess of uranium. In fact, I made several trips down there mining uranium and took it in there and put it in the refinery, started that up, and let it start refining refuel. Meanwhile, I believe it was over there, I found some silicon, and I mined up a good bunch of that. Over that way, in that other dark patch, iron, cobalt, and nickel. I mined a fair amount of each of those. And I believe it's over that way where I found gold and silver. I also picked up a certain amount of stone and ice in the process. And if we'd have a look in here, and I go storage inventories, hide the empty ones, this is what I've got at the moment. And, I got some iron, cobalt, silver, gold, nickel, silicon, and gravel. The only thing I don't have is any platinum, and that's not a big deal. And I have a fair amount of ice in the oxygen generator. In that intervening several days, I came to the conclusion, through many hours spent trying in a creative test copy of the world, I could not for the life of me build an atmospheric mining ship to save my life. I swear I tried, and I tried different kinds of configurations, and the best I could do was build something that didn't fall over when I cut it loose from the the new ship thing. That initial landing gear from the new ship, I cut it loose from that and it didn't fall over. But in spite of having no less than 10 small atmospheric thrusters and even a large atmospheric thruster, this thing couldn't even lift off the ground empty. Yeah. And as for mining with the hand drill, well, I'll do it if I need to, but only that much. And mining in a gravity field, I remember before Planets, mining even with a hand drill was sort of easy. And even then you might use gravity, but from a gravity generator, but not that much. I've come to the conclusion that the best place for a space engineer is in space. And so, with that in mind, let's grab some steel plates and some construction components, and some large steel tubes. Okay. I've decided that what I need to do is to fulfill the main objective of this landing on a planet situation. The objective, of course, at least to my mind, being cannibalize the lander and do whatever mining you have to and get off of this rock. Because then I'll have a better shot. I'll be able to find whatever I need, and I'll be able to build a whole lot better and effectively, because I can build in vacuum, I can build in 0G, so that's what I'm going to go for. Alright, let's get the G menu up here and grab some various block shapes, and let's see, thrusters, let's see, large and small hydrogen, and no, not small ship, small cargo, some conveyor tubes, a conveyor, that's probably a decent start. Okay, so what I'm proposing to do is just hit new large ship, and I'm going large ship because I typically build large ship designs, large grid. Okay, now this needs to be welded up. And oh, that reminds me. What reminded me was how slow that was going. If I hop in here and turn the assembler on, go to production, tools, let's go for the highest tier grinder and welder and even hand drill that I can make, because these guys are going to work better and faster and more effectively and so on than the default stuff you start with. So, alright, so we'll take these and put them in here. And let's see, where's the... Okay, it's almost done. Now we'll go to disassembly mode and disassemble those. We don't need them anymore. Assembler off until I need it. Alright. Oh, I have to fix the G menu for character tools. Welder, grinder, drill. Okay. Now let's see how much faster the welding is. Much faster. Okay, I need some motors. Yeah. So, this here is the beginning of a large ship that is going to get me off of this planet. Alright, let's see. Jetpack on. And let's see, the large thruster, how big is that? And what you're seeing on the screen there in the middle is it's a build info mod. It tells you information about the components you're trying to place. I thought I'd throw that in there and try it out for a bit. Alright, now let's try the large thruster. I said large thruster. Alright. Okay. I need hydrogen tank. Yeah, and I'm thinking maybe 2 hydrogen tanks. Then I'll need a series of thrusters, you know, the basic added maneuvering thrusters. So one there, and here, and there, and over this way. And when I'm finished, I'll have to make sure I've got one pointing forward as well. Maybe 2 or 3 pointing forward if we're going to counter the effect of that one. Alright. What else am I going to need? Cargo. Yeah, so one there. And what I'm just going to go is just a 3x3 arrangement of cargo cans, because I think that will probably be all the space I'm going to need to take everything with me. And that's basically every part of this that doesn't get used to make that will be in the cargo containers. Alright, okay, I got an idea here. Conveyor. Yeah, conveyor. Pop one here. And another one there. and small thrusters. Like so. Okay, what else do I need to have on here? G menu, all blocks. An oxygen generator would be a great idea. All right, and let's see. See, the oxygen generator is not just for breathing oxygen for me, but it will serve to convert ice into hydrogen to fill those tanks. All right. It will, of course, need a flight seat. And I think I'm just going to put a regular armor block down here to mount it on. Hello. Yeah. Okay, rotate that way. Okay, this is, like I said, this is incredibly bare bones. And, alright, some armor blocks, that's there. Kind of impromptu landing legs, if you will. Impromptu and very temporary. Meant to support the ship when that is disconnected from it. And then once it's in space, they can be ground off. Okay, that right there is the basics, the main basics of the ship. And what I'll need to do is to start welding on that thing. To get all the components welded up, I'll have to manufacture a few in the assembler, and actually, no, I probably won't, because I'm going to start grinding down this ship to get the components. Like, for example, any motors. These atmospheric thrusters are practically made of motors. Let's see. We'll fly up next to it, you'll see. There's 1,136 motors in each one of those large ones. And there's a fair number in the small thrusters as well. So I'm good for motors. Good for steel plate as I take that ship apart. And so on. Probably the last thing I'll do, and yes, I'm getting a little bit of lag right now, but this will be self-correcting soon enough. I think part of it's got to do with the fact that the sunrise was just very recently. Plus, I'm putting down a bunch of wireframe, a bunch of blocks, and they're still in wireframe mode. But probably the last thing I'll take apart is, I don't know. Actually, I hate it when I'm saying something and I interrupt myself and then I forget what it was I was saying. You ever do that? Of course you have. Yeah, it makes you feel really special, doesn't it? Anyway, I'm going to start welding on this and get it built, and then I'm going to have to mine a lot of ice and feed it into the oxygen generator up there. Oh, there was one important thing I didn't think to put on there. Let's see. Power blocks. Thing's gonna need at least one reactor, isn't it? Let's see, flip that. There. a single small reactor. That should be plenty of power for that because it's not using the power for thrusters. Just to run the ship systems. Alright, I know I'm running over here, so I am going to go ahead and call it here and probably take the build info thing out. It's starting to annoy me already. And get started welding on this thing. And next time, we'll see about getting this thing finished and starting the fueling operation. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. I'm out of here.